As a young child, one of the first sports that we were taught is to always play baseball. When we're a little child, we're always given a bat where we can hit something, even though sometimes our parents don't like it. The grandparents usually are the ones that give the bats. And also, we're always given a ball to throw. I'm not going to throw it at the camera because my wife is helping film this, so I'll probably hit her if I did. So we're all familiar with baseball, whether we like the sport or not. We're familiar with a ball a little bit. Although there are some players that are in the Hall of Fame, there are some that are not in the Hall of Fame. One, for instance, is Shoeless Joe Jackson, and some players that are in a league called the Negro Leagues. Well, the point of this is to share these players with you and to tell why they should be in the Hall of Fame. First is Shoeless Joe Jackson. Why he should be in the Hall of Fame is because he had over a 15-year career, and the reason why he is not in the Hall of Fame is because he was considered one of the ones in what was called a Black Sox scandal, which was where players took money to throw the World Series, which supposedly he did, but he went on to, the reason why I debate and others debate that he did not take money is because he had one of the best World Series of all time. He batted in 8 games an average of .375, hitting 1 home run, scoring 5 runs, and having 6 RBIs. But since he was considered one of the ones who took money to throw the World Series at that time, he was kicked out of baseball. But he still played over 4 or 5 more years in little bitty college leagues and stuff like that to keep his career going. Secondly, there are African Americans who played in a league called the Negro Leagues. These players were more talented than the white players of their time, but since there was so much racial tension in the early 1900s, these players were never recognized to play in Major League Baseball. Before the year of 1971, there was a committee formed with Satchel Paige being named as chairperson, who had stated before his election to the Baseball Hall of Fame that if he were not fully elected into the Hall of Fame, that he would not go in. In other words, if he wasn't elected 100% vote, he was not going to go in because all these other talented players before him didn't get to go into the Hall of Fame. Others that were on the Negro League committee at that time were Cool Papa Bell, Oscar Charleston, Martin DeHigo, Josh Gibson, Monty Irvin, Judy Johnson, Buck Leonard, and John Henry Lloyd. Of the 9 players that are mentioned here besides Page, only Page and Irvin had the opportunity to play for the Major League team, even though there were still about 42 people that are not in the Hall of Fame that have affiliation to the Negro Leagues. One of the very few players that are in the Hall of Fame from this league is Satchel Paige, and he was considered one of the best pitchers of all time. Though he did not have a long Major League career compared to others, his all-time stats were 28 wins, 31 losses, but he didn't start pitching in the Major League till he was 42 years old, and he was more a relief pitcher than a starting pitcher. And he ended his career in 1965, which been 17 seasons he played in the major leagues. Just imagine if he would have played in his early 20s like some do now. He could have had over a 40-year career almost. My third point for this, showing that there should be players in the Hall of Fame, is there are some players who have equal status that are not in the Hall of Fame. First is Dick Allen, who is considered one of the best hitting players of all time, a lifetime average of over 300. Allen's career spanned over 15 years, and when there was not many players who played over 10 years in the same time that he played. Another example is Jeff Bagwell, who almost hit 500 home runs in his career with a lifetime batting average of .297, which is pretty good for somebody considered a home run hitter. Even though Jeff Bagwell is 255 home runs behind Hank Aaron and had a lifetime average of .305, Hank Aaron is just 8 points higher than Jeff Bagwell's average. Jeff Bagwell also played for 15 seasons, all with the Houston Astros, which shows that he had a long, consistent longevity in his baseball career. and this also falls in line with other players that are in the Hall of Fame. As we look at the conclusion of this speech, we see how these different points. There are some players that should be in the Hall of Fame even though they cannot be proven of cheating, but their stats show that they are worthy. Number two, there are some African American players that should be in the Hall of Fame that are not because of racial tension. Number three, there are some baseball players who have equal stats of others that are in the Hall of Fame, but they are not. Thank you very much.